Okay, I think we are live, everyone. I think we're just going to wait a few minutes. I just wanted to welcome everyone. We'll get started in a minute, but thank you all for joining us tonight for our Defending Democracy with Will Jawando and Harry Dunn. We're going to give it another minute and get started, so just stand by. Okay. We're all here, I think. So we're going to get started. My name is Sydney, and I'm honored to welcome you to this conversation. I think it's a very timely conversation. I'll be moderating when we get to the questions later on in our program. And tonight we're going to hear from two leaders who understand really what it means to show up when democracy is on the line. I want to introduce Will Jawando, who is a Montgomery County councilman and candidate for county executive from Montgomery County. And we also have former U.S. Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn. And we're honored to have you here with us. And I'm going to pass it over to Will. Can take it away.
Thank you, Sydney, and really appreciate everyone joining us on this frigid night and being pivoting to the online version. But really, there's no better time to be here talking about what we need to do to defend democracy. And I think that word gets thrown around a lot. It the big experiment in our 250th year as a nation and 250th year as a county, because Montgomery County was also founded in 1776. It was this idea that we'd have everyone in our community we would form a government, a social contract that everyone was represented and had rights and was a part of the common good. And it's really under attack right now, as you all know. And I really appreciate my friend Harry Dunn joining me because we are both proudly defenders of democracy, and not only that, proud Silver Spring, Montgomery County residents. As you all know, I was born right here in Long Branch, uh, and we've both seen what happens when democracy works and when it doesn't. And part of that is people having what they need to having food, having the ability to get health care, having the ability to work a job that pays a living wage, to be treated fairly by law enforcement, for example. And I saw really early that I wanted to be in public service because I wanted people to have opportunity. It's taken me a lot of places to the White House, to Congress, where I met Harry, to the last 8 years on the Montgomery County Council, and now running for county executive at probably, I can't think of a more important time in our history to have local, state elected leadership and in the Congress that is fighting for democracy. We're at a crossroads in the nation, and Montgomery County is right in that crossroads. We're a couple miles away. We have an administration that is based on cruelty, attacking our values, attacking our democracy, is being lawless. We have 70,000 federal workers, over 6,000 of whom have already been illegally fired by Donald Trump, many more contractors. We've got this big ugly bill threatening Medicaid. Our health department tells us that we could have 25, 30,000 people lose Medicaid this November. And so we've got a lot going on. The good news is places like Montgomery County in Maryland, we're on the front lines of showing what America should be, what democracy is and can be. We're a light. We can show what compassion looks like, what leadership looks like when it brings people together. So that's why I wanted to have this conversation with Harry. We go way back. We met when I was a staffer. We were both a little younger, a little less gray. on Capitol Hill, and both my wife Michelle is here too. We both worked in the Senate, and I also worked in the House for Nancy Pelosi, and I worked for Senator Obama. And I used to see Harry. One of the things that is a kind of a culture of Capitol Hill. There have never been a lot of black staffers. I'm just going to tell you a little
Mhm.
insight. It's in because they pay you so little. A lot of folks can't afford to actually take those jobs. But a lot of the service workers and many of the police officers are black. And so there was always kind of like you'd always nod and make sure you knew
Uh,
who the service
uh.
workers were and who the police officers were. And that's how uh, Harry and I met. And he's a larger than life figure in personality and in stature. And so we just always got along. And then obviously that's before I knew he was a good man, but many of you met him post January 6th and watched what he and his colleagues went through that day, and so many of others of our friends who were hiding and cowering. You saw him testify before Congress, speak truth to power. I wasn't surprised because I knew who he was. When he ran for Congress a couple of years ago, I was one of the first people to endorse him because I believe that he has more work to do for our democracy. And now he's just continued to dedicate himself to speaking truth to power, to fighting for democracy, and someone who literally put his body and life on the line for democracy. So, thank you again, Harry, just publicly for defending our democracy, the Capitol, the literally the representation of our democracy, of the People's House. And I know you dealt with a lot that day, being beaten and sprayed and called slurs, but you stood up for us, and that's the kind of courage we still need right now in the midst of this authoritarian president and administration. So I want to turn it to you and just say thank you for being here tonight, and let you tell folks a little bit about your experience and what you think is on the line
Yeah.
right now for democracy.
Well, thank you so much for that, Will. It's great. Those are very kind words. I really appreciate that. To be very clear and very frank, I wish that you didn't have to say them. I wish that people didn't know who I was. But here we are. And the way I see it is you can just either accept the way that the cards that you're given, or you could demand a reshuffle, a redeal. And we deserve better cards than this. This ain't this. We deserve nice things in this world. And I believe that we are better as a nation than what we are showing and presenting right now. Listen, I thought that after January 6th, I spoke up for one reason. I wanted accountability for the people who attacked me, my coworkers. I didn't care who it was. Anybody responsible for the ugliest day, one of the darkest days of American history, need to be held accountable. And that's all I was striving for and fighting for. And I'll tell you a little bit about my struggle, my journey to seek accountability, because it kind of led me to where I am right now. And initially, right after January 6th, the House of Representatives, led by Nancy Pelosi, they introduced articles of impeachment, and then they impeached Donald Trump. And I said, yes, we are on our way. And then it went to the U.S. Senate, and the U.S. Senate took up the impeachment, and they had trials and they had the hearings. And I said, all right, here we go. And then Lindsey Graham and all his, excuse me, Mitch McConnell and all his infinite wisdom said these words on the House floor. Donald Trump bears full responsibility for what happened on January 6th. He is solely morally responsible for what happened that day. 30 seconds later, Mitch McConnell, the senator from Kentucky, how do you vote? I vote to acquit Donald Trump. And he acquitted him. And he urged his co-workers, the other Republican colleagues in Congress, to do so. I blame the continued existence on Donald Trump solely on one person, and that is Mitch McConnell. Now, listen, a lot of people voted for him, and yes, but it's hard to track down to nail down one particular person who could have stopped it. And Mitch McConnell had the ability to do so. He had the authority to do so. And by voting to impeach Donald Trump, that means he couldn't have ran for president again. That didn't happen. All right. That institution failed us. It failed me. It failed us. All right, well, let's take it to the courts. Let's go to the courts. Jack Smith comes in. Yeah, let's go, Jack Smith. The whole country was rooting for Jack Smith. People had Jack Smith t-shirts. They had Jack Smith tattoos. Like people were just like, let's go. He gonna get it. Jack Smith's gonna save us. Supreme Court stepped in July 1st, 2024. And they ruled that Donald Trump has immunity. Let's go ahead and make him a king for official acts, and we cannot hold the president responsible. So there goes the January 6th case. There goes accountability because Donald Trump claims it was an official act, and by the time they're going to dismiss everything until the election. Well, damn, there's another system that failed us. There's another institution that failed me. One more chance. All right. November the 5th, November 4th. When was the election? November 4th, 5th, 2025. The American people, one last guardrail. All right. How fitting. The people get to say, we reject this. We don't want this. And everybody woke up the next day, that Wednesday morning, with that knot in their throat, that lump in your throat, knot in your chest, saying, wow, how did we do this?
Yeah.
And I stopped asking the question, Will, and I stopped saying, hey, you know what? We're better than this. Are we? We had an opportunity to show who we were as Americans. You had the chance, you had a chance. You took the test. You had the chance to pass the test, and we failed it. We failed it with flying colors. We failed that test with flying colors. And I started thinking to myself, and I struggled saying this, America sucks. And I struggled saying that because I'm like, wait the hell, I love this country. How am I going to say that we suck? Then I started thinking about, I love the Wizards, but the Wizards suck. I'm comfortable saying that something that I love sucks right now. So we got, but.
The more you love something, the more you criticize it.
The more you criticize it, and the harder you fight for it.
That's right.
So I'll tell you one thing. So with all of that, America being the way that it is, and it crushed me. America crushed me the way that it did. One thing did not go away in my mind, and that was we deserve better than this. We can be better than what we are showing right now. And that right there has lit a fire in me to keep me going strong, to keep me from going away, to fading into obscurity and saying we deserve better than this. And damn it, I am going to fight as hard as I can. So at the end of my life, I am judged and I could say, hey, I did everything I can do. I don't want to leave anything on the table and say, dang, what if I just would have did this? Or what if I would have did that? We are at a moment right now where we need a lot of somebodies to do a lot of something, no matter what that something is. And I've spent the last part of the over a year since I lost my election in May of 2024, going around the country, just encouraging people to stay resilient because I get it. A lot of people want to quit right now. I get it. What is the hard work? What has it gotten us so far? A lot of heartache, a lot of disappointment. But damn, I am just that what they say, mustard seed of faith that I believe that something had our luck got to change eventually. And maybe it's the work that I do. Maybe it's the work that you do, Will. Maybe it's everybody in watching right now. Maybe it's the people that stand right outside Forest Glen on Friday evenings, right on Georgia Avenue with their signs saying "No Kings," or the people amongst the 16th Street corridor saying "No Kings." I love seeing those. Those are encouraging, and courage is contagious. And shoot, I was like, man, it's 10 degrees out there. These people are still outside. You know what? Let me get out there. Let me go join them next time. It's inspiring, and that's what we got to keep on doing, inspiring each other. So
I appreciate that, man, and your energy is contagious. I just want to say for folks that are we've got folks that are joining us that might want to ask a question at some point. You can put it in the Q&A. I know some people have already started to do that. And please we're going to get to that portion in a second. Um, so let me ask you this, Harry. Like uh, this word democracy is not just something we throw around. You talked about keeping people fired up. I mean, one of the things that's a challenge for me, and I've been, I tell people like, I was there electing Barack Obama in 2008. I spent a year in Ohio. I'm not only drinking the Kool-Aid, I'm pouring the sugar and stirring. Like I'm in,
Yes,
and
yes.
I'm in on this thing of hope and democracy, and but it can become tiring when you see these attacks. And uh, I wonder what do you say to people who are feeling fatigue or hopelessness in this moment? Like, how do you
Yeah.
talk to yourself if you have those moments? And because I think a lot of us that want to do it, and something you said I think sticks out. Like a lot of us need to do a lot of something. Like I think there's something to that. Like we can't all do
Yeah.
everything all at once, but and you've talked about self-care before, but what do you say to people when they're like, I feel hopeless.
I that's what I appreciate that because a lot of times when I go around the country doing a lot of speaking and telling people, I try not messages of hope, right? That's what we need right now. But a lot of people are like, man, whatever. But it's just about being resilient. And I was fortunate. I had the opportunity to go to Ukraine in May, and I spent a week in Ukraine in a war zone. I went to Kyiv, 8 days, and you walk over there, or you're in there, we're there, and we hear air raid sirens. And I'm immediately looking for the bunker, the bomb shelter. That's what you're taught, right? And like all you could tell the Americans, we're just like, well, get us out of here. Where are we supposed to go? And the people of Ukraine are just walking down the street. The restaurants are full. The kids got their backpacks on. They're walking down the streets. And they don't break stride when they hear these air raid sirens. So I noticed that, and when you're in an unfamiliar situation, especially a stressful one, you look around to see how people respond. Okay, well, what am I supposed to be doing? And they laughed. The people that I was with, they're like Americans, you pansy. And I was like, so they laughing and making fun of me and stuff. So I got the opportunity to ask. I said, so are y'all just like used to it? Is it just like you don't even notice it? They're like, no, no, we hear every single one and it scares the living hell out of us. But we refuse to let another a cruel individual dictate how we live our lives. We are going to keep on, and this is literally in the face of life and death. Like
Yeah,
this ain't now. Granted, I'm not comparing. I'm not comparing. This ain't. Oh, my healthcare premium's about to go up. Hey, they're about to drop a bomb on my head.
right.
So if they can continue to press on in the face of that, it just taught me a little bit about myself. Like, wait a
Mhm.
minute. So the people that also that want to quit, I say, I've been through hell, literally and figuratively, metaphor, all of that. Physically attacked, attacked through social media. They go after my family, my loved ones. My parents have been swatted. I've been swatted. It's just like they do everything they can. And I say to people, like I said, I don't like comparisons, but I haven't quit yet. Why are you? Why
Yeah,
are you? Now, I'm
yeah,
not asking you to go and stand in front of podiums and give speeches or jump on Zooms with Will Jawando or do this and that. I'm not asking you to do that. But make 5 phone calls, call a friend, encourage a friend to go to a protest. Uh, Watch the news. Be educated about what's going on. You can do something that does not include tapping out. And
yeah.
I don't. I'm not name calling. I'm not shaming because it is a lot. So sometimes people do need to take a break. It's a lot. It's heavy, and it can be bad for your mental health. But hold on to what you can because we are all capable of doing something more than we're doing right now.
Yeah, and I'm always cognizant of like it takes real people to defend democracy. Democracy is the people organizing around a common good, but the people have to defend it. I'm often reminded like it's not self-actualizing. It doesn't just happen by itself. Like
Yeah.
and it's fragile. Our founders knew that. Um, you know, and I think we as collectively have kind of forgotten that. We've kind of taken for granted that this democracy thing is just going to work. And no, we've got to do our part. I mean, talk to me a little bit about right now. We're in a moment. I'm a local elected official. Federal government is failing us. I don't think, ICE is the largest paramilitary organization that's disappearing people. When we fund emergency assistance, federal, we're having to do that at this level because the federal programs are being cut.
Yeah.
Why does electing folks locally matter just as much as who's in the White House? And
Yeah.
and talk a little bit about local leadership and what your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no. So everybody, like you just said, everybody expects these institutions to work, right? But these institutions, as I talked about when I first started talking, are only as strong and good and effective as the people that we have in there. So if you have people that are elected in your school boards or the county council or the House of Delegates or the state senate, you have people there that are okay with the status quo, that don't be like, you know what, maybe ICE is okay. Nothing's going to change. Or maybe they get funded more. Or, you know what? Hey, I am all for, this big tech. And I saw somebody said data centers, and I'm all for that. So if you're electing people that believe in that's going to become your reality. You just can't sit around and just hope that people have a moment of a moral clarity and just it's going to be okay. No,
Yeah.
it only becomes okay with active resistance. And when they meet some, how do you stop a force? Meet steps. I'm going back to my physics class now. Momentum is stopped when it meets a movable force or object or inertia
Yeah.
and all that good stuff. But we need something to stand up to this train that is coming right now. And comes in the form of electing good leaders and good people that actually believe in doing what the people want and not self-serving what they want. So it's all about what the people want. And that's not just on the federal level, that's local, all the way down to the school boards.
Even county executive in Montgomery County,
Even
right?
county executive of Montgomery County, even your HOA president.
There you go. There you go. There you go. I think Sydney, am I kicking it back to you, or we're going to go to
Yes.
some questions?
So if you want to drop a question in the chat, you can do that. We're also going to be taking questions live. So I'm going to give you the lineup of who we're going to take. I'm going to ask a question first that we had from online, and then we're going to come to Jacqueline, Howard, and then Crystal. So get ready for your questions. But first, a previous question that we had, Harry, is for you. A lot of people watched you on January 6th on TV. A lot of people watched January 6th on TV, but you were actually there. What do you wish more people understood about that day?
So a lot of people talk about the politics of January 6th, right? But every single person that was there is a human being who it was a real life, a real story, a real human attached to it. Even the people who attacked us, like their lives were ruined. Obviously Donald Trump did his best to make them whole again by pardoning them and appointing them into his administration, and in some cases giving families settlements of $5 million and upwards. But the officers that were there were just human. They're humans. So a lot of people just see them as, oh, they attacked police. No, they attacked Stephanie. They attacked Mike. They attacked John. They attacked Travis. They attacked Jody. Like human beings were, their lives were turned upside down. And it was one of the worst day of my life that I had to live publicly. Imagine the worst day of your life right now. I'm not trying to take it to a dark place right now, but picture the worst day of your life that you experienced. Now, I'm sure only a few people, the closest people that you know about that know about that day, right? Now, imagine the whole world saw it and is aware of it. And then imagine the leader of the country saying that the worst day of your life, it didn't happen. In fact, it's your fault. Imagine living with that. So there were real humans, real victims that day, and it's more than just a January 6th politically, right? Because that's what we talk about. Donald Trump incited insurrection that affected a lot of individuals' lives humanly, especially in this area here.
And we have Jacqueline now. Go ahead, Jacqueline. You are ready to ask your question.
Yes, I appreciate you doing this for Councilmember Jawando, hopefully County Executive Jawando eventually. So Officer,
Yeah.
thanks for doing that. And my question is actually for Officer Dunn. Um, and that is, I hear there's an opening in District 5. You feel like you went back a little further south in Southern Maryland?
Well, it's funny. That's where I'm from. I was born and raised there.
I
Um,
know, that's why I'm saying it wouldn't be a
so
stretch.
I'm strongly considering it. But like I said, I believe that people need to consider to do whatever they are capable of doing at this moment. So I'm strongly considering it because I believe that we need people that'll fight, and I will fight. I have a decision I want to make with my family, my loved ones, because it's a lot. It's like kudos to
You
you.
know what it's like now.
I do too, and you do too, and it's a lot. It's a lot, and I was just going to say, like, I think me and Will, we need psychological tests because who in their right mind wants to take on this undertaking right now? It's either somebody that's really crazy or somebody that really cares. So I'm going with the latter, somebody that really cares. But I'm considering it. I haven't made a decision yet.
All right,
It's a
well,
good question. You almost made some news, Jackie.
Okay, now we'll go on to Howard.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank both Will
The
and
maintenance is wild, us.
There we
sorry.
go.
I want to thank both Will and Officer Dunn for being here and for bringing the reality of what happened on January 6th and what's happening now to those of us who weren't there and are now kind of wondering, now what do we do? And the thing that gets me is that Mr. Dunn, as police officer, you swore to uphold the law, and you literally put your life on the line to do that.
Yes, sir.
We have officials in our government now, in the federal government, who also swore oaths, which clearly meant absolutely nothing to them.
That's right.
Civilians like us, ordinary people, older people, however you want to put it. I don't know that we're going to literally put our lives on the line the way you did. But what can we do? And I would also ask Will to weigh in on this from a political perspective. Thank you.
I appreciate Howard. Thank you so much for the question. Thank you much for your kind words. What can we do? We can continue to show up. You, Howard, right now being here is actually going above and beyond because you're doing a lot more than what the average person in Montgomery County is doing. The average citizen in the United States is doing. You're engaging, which we're supposed to. The government is of the people, for the people, by the people. It's not just like we appoint some people, y'all go figure it out. No, it's literally elected officials work for the people. And that our job objective, our objective should be what the people want. So being engaged, Howard, you are 10 steps ahead of a lot of people right now. And if we, and what can you do? Encourage a family member, encourage a friend to join you on this next call. Hey, you know what? Like, let's stay involved. Let's stay motivated. So do something. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm not asking you to go, like I said, stand in front of a podium or run for office. Why not? Get out there, challenge people to be better. That's what we need to continue to do, and not just being stagnant in status quo.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Harry. And Howard, I would just add, I know you are involved in a lot of ways in your community. And, I always get, I'll answer my own question to Harry earlier. I always get encouraged when I do get tired and I do get a little despondent. This tonight has given me what I need to get through the next week. Just being with people who care about other people and who want our democracy to work, not just for themselves and their family, but for everybody. Yeah. And I think that just that act in of itself, it's powerful. It just creates this energy and it keeps us going. I remember one of the No Kings rallies. I went to one in Germantown, maybe the one a month or so ago, and there were like 5,000 people on the corner of a street in Germantown, like that, which never happens. Like I've represented this county for a long time. People are living their lives, but people took off to come and and just be in community with one another. And I know that matters. And I just think that you can get to the politics of the strategy, which I will say just 30 seconds about. The battle right now is at the local and state level of taking being strong, standing against. If you think about what we did 250 years ago, these colonies, standing up against the tyranny of Great Britain, we're kind of in that situation now with states and locals having to stand up against an unjust and lawless government, and I'm focused on that. And I think having community members step up and advocate, I think the more you do that, when I used to work on Capitol Hill in the White House, we were always looking for local examples of leadership and policies that were working, because we know the power comes from the grassroots. And I think we have more power than we think, even if we're in a blue state or whatever, even if it doesn't match up with the electoral map, it all matters. And to Harry's point, I would just say, just keep connecting with other people and bringing more people into the fold.
Thank you, and God bless you both.
You too.
God bless you.
And I think we had a question from Elizabeth. Elizabeth, are you there? I see your camera's not on, but
I am here. I can't get my camera going.
Oh, we hear you, so go ahead.
Okay, great. Well, I don't have a question. I've never had an opportunity to express my gratitude to Officer Dunn and to all of the officers who did so much for us in our country that day. My father was a police chief, and he would be so proud of you. He was a Dudley Do-Right, the kind of guy who put quarters in the meter when he parked his cruiser. So he would be thrilled and honored and so grateful to you. And I just want to express my gratitude.
Well, thank you for that. And funny story, real quick. It just made me think about putting quarters in the meter. One time, so I was Capitol Police, and I was responding. There was a call. Officers needed help, and you could just hear. So anytime you hear on the radio an officer needs help, you're going to see a million cop cars flying to that location. You're flying. So if you know anything about DC and parking in DC, those parking meter maids are relentless and ruthless. I was in a marked cruiser, lights going, the door was flung open, and I took off running to where my officer was. And thank God he was okay. He was okay. Somebody was having a medical emergency, and he was like, the person needed like CPR. It was bad, but they ended up living. So everybody was okay. So I go back to my car about 25 minutes later, and I got a parking ticket on my cruiser with the lights and the sirens running. So they meter maids do not care if you're a cop. So that quarter in the meter story, definitely, I'm sure that went a long way. So
no, you're a hero, and we have too few of them.
Thank you for that, ma'am.
And we have Alex here. Hi, Alex. Your mic is on. You're ready to go.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much for your service. And I remember that day, January 6th. It was like really tragic to hear, and hearing like your story, it was so motivating. And I just want to ask, what's your opinion on the whole ICE situation? Since it's like, it's affected millions of lives, especially right here in our community.
ICE got to go. They need to be abolished. They need to be defunded, and they have to be absolved. Now, listen, I am all for immigration enforcement. Sure, I agree with that. However, I think the bigger picture, you wouldn't need ICE if there was actually a real comprehensive, reasonable plan for immigration. Like it's clear immigrants are contributing members of society, sometimes more than Americans. They are contributing members of society. They pay taxes, they work, they bust their ass. They just want to create a better living for themselves and their families. Full stop. And the fact that there is no plan or a pathway, a realistic pathway to citizenship for many of these people, it shouldn't take 10, 15 years to get your applications, or you shouldn't be on a temporary visa for that. It shouldn't happen. So that's the bigger problem there. You fix that, get rid of ICE altogether. But the way that ICE exists today, you have to abolish it, because they're beyond repair. And you can't just throw training. Oh, let's train the officers better. No, it's not about training. They have this mindset right now. And okay, you know what? Even if you come along and when we get a new president and the Democrats take back the House and the Senate, and we are able to call the Secretary of Homeland Security in front of, and they answer questions at hearings, and they say, we're going to do better. You already have thousands and thousands of officers who are embedded in it already that have the mindset of what Donald Trump has basically given these guys blanket cover to do whatever
Yep.
they want to do. So you cannot have an organization that exists with that in it. You have to blow it all up and start from scratch. That's my thoughts on it.
Amen. And I'll add to that, Alex. We've got to fight it at every turn at the local level. It's why last week I introduced these two bills saying that they can't wear masks in our county and they can't use our public spaces to stage and congregate. We have to fight on that front too. But yeah, I agree with Harry that it's beyond repair, and the folks who are embedded getting these $50,000 signing bonuses and all this, they're coming in because the vast majority of them, because they want to attack people and be cruel and lawless. We actually had our most diverse class of Montgomery County police officers ever sworn in just a few months ago. Two of the people came from Customs and Border Patrol because they wanted to get out of there because of the culture, because of what they're telling people how to operate. That's how bad it is there. So.
I believe that a lot of the ICE agents are January 6th participants. That's why they're wearing masks. They're going to be identified. Oh, you was the dude that was at the Capitol. I believe it. Like
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised.
Next, we have Fatima, who's actually an immigration attorney.
Mata.
Mata.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I have everybody trained right, so correct my name for me every time somebody says it wrong.
Apology.
Thank you, Will. Thank you so much for having this. And Officer Dunn, appreciate you so very much. One of the major issues I think we're having right now, ICE is doing horrendous things to immigrants and non-immigrants in this country right now. One of the unspoken issues are the disappearances of Black immigrants in this country. It's there. We don't have a lot of cameras when that happens. Their due process rights are basically almost non-existent. They follow the law, they follow the rules, and they show up, but they don't go home. And those groups of people, I wanted to bring up here, and how we can make sure that our community is aware and that their voices are uplifted just as everybody else's voice should be uplifted. Because the wrongs that are being done to everyone on camera is so horrendous. Sometimes you don't even know what to do with yourself. But at the same time, for those of us who are in the field and we know about these silent folks whose lives are being turned upside down, it's imperative that we have people like yourself and, of course, our council member, hopefully soon to be county executive, put these stories up front. And how would you, since you know what happened with J6, you saw what our democracy is going through right now. You can see the demonization of people who look like you and me on a regular basis. And the president has basically said he does not want anyone here from third world countries, and was very clear. How do we communicate this to the rest of the community in our county and country, that we don't just focus on the most, visibly outrageous things?
I'm glad. One thing that I will address real quick that you said, that people that look like us, they're not stopping many Europeans. They're not attacking them. The videos that we're seeing, they're attacking Black and brown people. The outrageous things. Listen, I got upset for a moment because I hate telling people that there's really nothing you can do against ICE, right? But there's nothing we can do right now. And I hate saying that because it sounds defeatist, right? But the reality is They are murdering you in us in broad daylight. They are beating the hell out of us and spraying us and doing all. We got Greg Bovino was just recently caught on tape. Arrest everybody. This is our effing city. Like they are wiping their butts with court orders. They don't care, and lives are not worth it. So I hate saying there's not much. Stay safe is what I tell people. You got to stay safe until we actually are in a position to do something about that. Kind of like Will said about passing those laws of about no mask and stuff like that. So we have to do something. And it starts. Well, we've already. The people are going to always rise up. Are always going to show up. They have been. We've seen in Minnesota. We need the lawmakers now, and that's where we go to the lawmakers to actually. Now it's your turn. We doing what we can do. We're doing the most we can do. We need you to do what you're. And I'm going to ask Will to go ahead and elaborate on that far about what you all can do.
Well, Fatmata knows Fatmata is a candidate for county council as well, and used to work in my office, so she knows where I feel. So I'm gonna let us try to squeeze in a couple more questions
Okay.
before we go. But thank you, Fatmata, and you're right. I think we're trying to do everything we can to resist, but to the safety point, I do tell people there is a right way and a wrong way, to be present. Like, for example, so now I'm answering the question anyway. We show up and take over a parking lot. Like I've been getting up early in the morning with community members to get up, take over a parking lot, have coffee, play games so that ICE can't stage there, right? Like there's people who have worked with each other to take other people's kids to school because we know ICE is hanging out around our schools trying to arrest parents as they drop the kids off to school. So there's a lot of that happening, as you know, and I think there are safe ways to do it. We have done trainings. My colleague Kristen Mink, who we've done a bunch with the school system for teachers because everyone wants to figure out how to help, but we do need to make sure, as you've seen with one thing I will say there, with allies like Mr. Preddy and Renee Good, who are stepping up, they will kill you. They literally will kill you.
Yep.
And others who have been shot. So we do have to protect people's safety, and those are martyrs in the movement. But there are, ways that we can get involved and try to both legally, legislative wise, but also on the kind of activist side, and we have to keep doing that.
Yeah, I just want people to stay safe and stay alive.
Yeah.
I hate it when you see these lawless thugs in this regime, these lawless thugs not giving a damn about what a judge says, or they're still putting people on planes. Oh, we're just gonna pretend like we didn't see the judge saying don't send that plane to another country. They are playing these games, and there have been no consequences, and they're gonna keep on doing it. And so, like, yeah, you film an ICE agent, he'd be like, oh, you can film, okay, and he punches you in the face. Then what? Well, you can't do that. Well, I just did. Now what? Like there's there's video of the dude saying, lower your voice or I'll erase your voice. He's saying it on camera, unmasked. What gives him that audacity? The fact that he knows he's going to be rewarded for that behavior, not punished. Not only is he not going to be punished, he's going to be rewarded. That's why I care about people's safety too much to try to get in some pissing contest, excuse my language, to some piss with these people because they will kill you and they do not care. So I just care about everybody's safety more than I care about scoring some political points. So
Totally agree. Well, thank you. We are going to take, I think, one more question because Mr. Dunn, we know that your time is short tonight.
Yep.
One more question from Denisio. I think you need to unmute.
Yes, thank you. Harry, Denisio LaBoy, I'm a former police officer and former special agent. I support Will Jawando.
Right.
As a person of color who wore the uniform, much like yourself, I've experienced many situations where many of our own who look like me and you put their own skin appendage aside for the sake of the color of the uniform. In the
Mhm.
current state of our democracy and the attacks on the Black and brown people that are happening today, what would you say to those people of color who wear the uniform or put the uniform before their own color?
What a great question, man. My God. And uh, during the summer when George Floyd was murdered, and we all watched George Floyd be murdered, and the rise of BLM protest, and everything that was going on, I had a lot of calls from my friends saying, quit the police force. What are you doing, bro? Police are corrupt, they suck, blah, blah, blah. And I found like an internal struggle with myself and saying, damn, man, what? No, it went back before George Floyd. This was about Ferguson, hands up, don't shoot movement. We
Right,
all
right.
remember
Michael
that.
Brown.
Mike Brown and Ferguson. And and I said to myself, well, damn, I'm not quitting. I believe in this, but I believe I am doing it right. Even though I do notice there are people that I got pulled over off duty a couple times, profiled. So I acknowledge that it exists. So I said, what can I do short of quitting? Because I'm always looking for that something to do, right? Like find work, do something. What can I do? I'm not going to quit and let them win. You know what? I'm going to become a training officer. And in 2017, I became a training officer with the United States Capitol Police. And from the time I started to the time I left, I think I trained over 200 officers. And I just pray that my handprints on them, the little bit of wisdom that I was able to entail, the empathy, the teaching how to not look at people's race and actually do the job for service and instead of self-gratification. I hope that that rubbed off on at least one. And if that saved one person's life, then it was worth it. So I always found out what could I do because I believe in the institution of police. Now, yes, can we improve? Absolutely. Do we need to improve? Absolutely. Are there a lot of good cops out there? Absolutely. Does one cop make all of them look bad? Absolutely. But we need to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge what people's reality and perception of us as law enforcement are. And we can't be dismissive of it because their perception is their reality. And we need to do better because literally the title, our job description is protect and serve, which means we are servants. And people need to never lose sight of that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Harry. I'm gonna, with your indulgence, can I sneak in one more? Do you have?
Yes. You
Okay.
can do one more. I'll give you one more.
I see my good friend Dr. Okiki is here. I don't know if she's able to come off of mute. And I don't know if you had a question or just wanted to say something. She's a great advocate in our community. And then we'll wrap up. Or maybe she's not there. Dr. Okiki, are you there? Okay. Oh, she says that she doesn't have access to speak. There it goes. You should now.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I don't see a way to get my face on, but I think my photo's there.
Yeah, we can see you. We can see your photo for sure.
Well, thank you, Officer Dunn. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Watching you on TV was one thing, but to hear from you virtually is another. Yeah, but thank you so much. Deeply grateful for all you did and your
Thank you.
colleagues. I
Thank
have a question that goes both to you and Will. So while we are focused on what ICE is doing, as important as it is to face that and think about how we stay engaged and being cautious, the kitchen table issues that families still have still exist.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
what do you say to us, right, and to folks about focusing on the economy and
Yeah.
the health and college readiness, and more so AI literacy, which is yet again showing disparities as it's being rolled out and adopted, and all the economic connections to that with job, creation, job generation, employment, and so on and so forth. How do we do both at the same time? Strategies that you are thinking of, strategies you're applying, that would be a good takeaway. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you for your question. Thank you for your kind words. Now, listen, I'm new to this political thing, right? But I am not new to just common sense and understanding how things work. Now, obviously, the state level, I'll let Will talk about that. But I do understand that. So, a lot of times in this talk, this when I talk across the country, it's about surviving what we're in right now. So, for example, when the Democrats had the gavel, they passed the John Lewis Justice and Policing Act. They passed HR one. They passed. They wanted to codify Roe v. Wade. They wanted to do all of these things that would actually help people. They wanted what's the act, the Chips Act,
Yep.
the Infrastructure Act, and all this work that they did, right? And now this administration is totally just doing everything. And the way I understand how things work is we will not be able to advance things while we don't have a voice in Congress. Mike Johnson controls what comes to the floor in the United States House of Representatives. The US Senate needs a Democratic majority to pass things that are helping Democrats. So, as we saw right before the end of the year, last year that passed, healthcare premiums skyrocketed. Mine went up. I'm sure everybody on this chat, their premiums went up. And what did Democrats wanted to do? Democrats wanted to stop that. They shut down the government, hoping that this would bring. We need to extend these Obamacare subsidies, these tax credits. So your healthcare premiums with kitchen table issues, affordability, money in your pocket. The Republicans said nope. And what can we do? What can Democrats do in this moment? Not much in this particular moment. And I know, like I said, I'll let Will talk about on the state level things but you're seeing Donald Trump withholding aid and assistance to Maryland because he don't like Wes Moore. Like this type of administration is not sustainable. So we have to. I know people say, well, what can we do until November? Survive. We got to survive until November, where we are able to put people in positions where they are able to make a difference for people going forward.
Yeah, and that's a great segue. Light County Executive Jawando here in the future with Harry's support.
Absolutely.
I think the Dr. Okiki, you're exactly right, and Harry teed it up well. These issues are so interconnected, right? Like, so if 25,000 people lose Medicaid in Montgomery County because of the big ugly bill, because of the tax breaks to billionaires and multimillionaires, that's going to affect people's bottom line. They're not going to have healthcare insurance. They're not going to be able to take their medicine. It's going to make them less healthy. It's going to cost us more at the state and local level. All this is connected. Obviously, these horrible raids are a part of that. We've seen an economic drop since these raids. People aren't showing up and doing the work that they normally do, right? And so that's connected to local. We've seen a rise in homelessness and eviction because people can't afford their rent because 7,000 federal workers have been fired, right? So all of this is connected. So that's why I passed this bill with my colleagues to introduce, and we passed a bill to give a hiring preference to fired federal workers for county jobs, right? Because we want to take advantage of that expertise. And we put $8 million to food banks and food assistance because we know when the SNAP issues were happening. So there's this push and pull of how do you respond and try to plug some of the holes to meet people's needs, but then have a broader vision of where we need to go. And we can't, the thing that's really keeping me up at night, they're talking about taking away permanent supportive housing for some of our most vulnerable members of our community if they're not documented or if they're not citizens. That would have a devastating impact across the country. And so a lot of these issues, I mean, shoot, my staff received over 100 requests for help during the snow, right? We were out there, Dave, my chief of staff, we were literally out there digging people out and getting DOT to come and help. And so all of these things are really connected. You need competent, caring, compassionate elected leaders, and then we need to we need to win the House back in November. We need to flip the presidency and then just fight at every turn, along with governor and the county executives and the other state elected leaders. But I think the issues of kitchen table are embedded into what we're seeing at the federal government, but we have to push back and show a different vision
Right.
to people. So that's what I would say to that.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add to that, I like to use a metaphor or paint a picture that's like kind of vivid in your mind. Imagine we're out in the Atlantic Ocean and our boat sank and we're just holding on to life rafts right now. Everybody has a life raft and we are treading water. And you know what? The Coast Guard ain't coming. The Navy ain't coming. That we are on our own and we are depending on each other for these next 4 years to tread water and paddle our asses back to shore because we don't have anybody except each other. We have to depend on each other because that's all we have in this moment. Because Donald Trump and this administration and these Republicans that support him, and not even just support him, empower him, have basically told us they don't give a damn about us. And we are living through that right now. And it's unfortunate, but the reality is we have each other. And we have to stop infighting amongst Democrats. I hate that when we so much infighting amongst Democrats. Wait, we're all on the same team here, guys. We might have different ideas of how to do it, but hey, let's all support each other and let's look at the bigger picture. And that's surviving these next 3 years now.
Amen.
And
Amen.
Mr. Dunn, I like the way you said each other because even though they started out as Hispanics being targeted to be deported and that blacks involved, the two people who were shot were white.
Yeah.
It's all of us.
Yeah, it's all of us. If they murder two white people, what nobody's safe. And that's sorry. I'm not trying to sound racist, but it just
No,
it
it's
was
true.
always assumed, oh, I'm white, I'm good. And I'm not saying that into that casually downplaying anything, but they will kill anybody. Don't get in their way. If you it drives me crazy.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kiki. And thank you, Harry. I know you stayed on longer than you
Yep.
could.
Thank you, man. It's worth it. I appreciate the time to talk with everybody, the great people in Montgomery County, and supporters of yours. That means they're even greater than the regular. But no, thank you, everybody. I had the opportunity to read everybody's comments or questions and everything, but I appreciate all the love and support. And go Team Jawando.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's a great segue. So I'll let you go, and
All right.
I'll just say if there's any,
Take care,
thank you,
everybody.
Harry. Appreciate
Got
you,
it.
brother.
Yep.
If there's any questions for me, I'm happy to we can answer them. You can type them in the chat and I'll get back to you. You can also I'll have my team put my email. It's just councilmember.jawando or actually at montgomerycountymd.gov. That's my official, and then my campaign email is will@willjawando.com. You can email either one. I'm running for county executive, as you know. And if you want to support that campaign, you could visit willjawando.com. We're using public financing. Any contribution between $5 and $500 is matched. And we pivoted this from my birthday celebration kind of fundraiser. So if you're a county resident, it gets matched 5 to 7 times. My team will put that in the chat as well, and you should have it in your email. We're a people-powered campaign. We don't take money from PACs or corporations or big business. We're funded by you to get this message out of how we're going to fight for democracy. I've talked about many of the things that I've done and I am working on, from pushing back to ICE to hiring federal workers to step funding education and protecting renters and our senior citizens and down the list. And I just really appreciate you all coming out and your support of me and the campaign. We've got 13 weeks until people start voting by mail on May 1st and 20 weeks until the election day on June 23rd. So it's going to go very fast. And we need your help and need your engagement. I want to thank Ike, my friend Ike. I think he's on here. He was going to host the birthday party, but when we pivoted, we did to the online version. And I want to thank folks for coming out and participating. And really, hopefully you were inspired by the conversation with Harry, with Officer Dunn, who is a great county resident himself, lives in Silver Spring, and also, used to live in Southern Maryland, but he's a Marylander. And I know he's not done yet fighting for our democracy, and neither am I. So really, really appreciate everybody coming out this evening. And as I said, if you have questions or if I can help you with anything, please email me at my office or on my campaign email. And please contribute, request a yard sign, sign up to volunteer. All that can be done at willjawando.com. So really appreciate everyone coming out. Sydney, did I miss anything?
I don't think you missed anything. I just want to thank you, Will. You know, as you always say, local leadership is more important now than ever. So having you and Harry here was really great. And thank you for everyone for attending. You know, your being here shows that you are not just sitting back. And so we want everybody to step up. And if you want to do something, join Team Jawando and host a party, put a yard sign, donate. But thank you all for being here.
Have a great night.